Well, hello and welcome back to another video. I thought this year, this spring, I would have a look at showing you how I grow one of my favourite summer flowers, and that's dahlias. Now, there are a couple of ways you can grow dahlias. You can, and we might have a look at that way as well. You can buy packets of seeds and grow the more bedding, compact, annual type dahlias from seed. They will grow if you set them, early enough. In March, April, they will flower the same summer. They make, quite good plants. But what I was more meaning is growing dahlias from established tubers that you've either kept from last year or that you go and buy from one of the garden centres or one of the firms online selling Dahlia Tubers. A very easy plant to grow. Dahlias kind of went out of fashion a few years ago. Very popular plants. No suburban garden or even big garden in the 1960s, as I remember, was without dahlias. Everybody kind of, had dahlias then, from cactus to decorative, you name it, to the dinner plate, the massive great dinner plate ones. But then, as I say, towards the later 70s and into the 80s, dahlias seemed to go very much out of fashion, which was a shame because they're a very easy garden plant to grow. Sure, they do like a little bit of feeding, and they do kind of like this is a bit of a contradiction in terms. They do like quite a free draining soil, but there again they do like plenty of water in the summertime when they're flowering, so they can be very thirsty plants. So they will need watering more often than not in the UK here. But that said alone, very easy plant. And as I say, thankfully the last certainly 10, maybe even 15 years, dahlias have had a bit of resurgence and have come back into popularity. And not that I keep up with gardening trends. I tend to grow what I like. You reach an age when you like certain plants and you want to grow them again. So many varieties. I'm certainly not going into all the varieties, but I thought we'd have a look at how I start my dahlias off. And there again, many ways of doing it, but this is just purely my way and what has worked for me. So here we have a Dahlia tuber. Now this one has been bought in. It's not one that I've kept from last year. I do have quite a few that I have kept, and we might have a look at that nearer the time. We'll carry this right through from this point in time, and then when we dig them up in the autumn, and we'll have a look at how you can try and save your dahlias later on, much later on in the autumn of the year. So this is a tuber that's been brought in this year. These 5 here, although they look very small, these are what is called the Bishop series of dahlias. These have dark bronze coloured foliage. I love the dark bronze foliage, and smaller, kind of almost like daisy flowers. I'll probably put some pictures up of them to give you an indication what these are. These are the Bishop. The famous one is Bishop Landaf, and there's a whole series of Bishop dahlias. And as I say, they do have the bronze dark foliage. Now, you might think that looks very small. These tubers are, these are quite a smallish dahlia. Particularly, they're not like a big cactus or big decorative variety. Although I have had, particularly the red Bishop Landuf dahlias, they do make very big clumps very often. But as I say, you buy in, obviously these are probably were grown on as cuttings last year, then set out and grown for the tubers, and then they were harvested and dried and stored over the winter, and they have been sent out this spring. Now a lot of people often think, the sun has come out, I don't know quite well how this is all going to come out, but never mind. The most important part, obviously these are the tubers, these are the tuber part of the dahlias. It's almost like a potato, but goodness sake, don't try and eat it. I believe the tubers might be slightly poisonous anyway. But the most important part of the dahlia is this bit round the base of the stem, which is called the crown. Hopefully you'll see that. And I don't know how well you'll see this. This one has got a little reddy, almost purplish shoot coming up from the crown. Now, you can have really good, solid, firm tubers, but if the crown, that's this bit, as I say, round the base of where the last year's stem was, if that has gone rotten, the dahlia will not grow. However firm the tubers are, the important part is this crown part round here. That is where the new shoots are going to come. The tubers will feed that, and so that's the most important piece. So if your crown is all squishy, you can just gently graze it with your fingernail, and if it looks green and wet under there, your crown is okay. And there's a 80 to 90% chance that tuber is going to grow away fine. What I like to do with my tubers, I individually pot them up. We're middle of March now. I should pot them up and grow them on in pots. Make sure they're going to grow, because not all of the ones you buy, you do get disappointments, and sometimes dahlias, for whatever reason, don't regrow from the tuber. There again, there's a very high success rate. More often than not you will. So that's how I do it. You can see there's a couple of shoots. This is another one of the Bishop series that I put in a pot, just ordinary potting compost. Keep the crown sort of nicely out the top there. Don't bury it too much. Don't overwater them, but keep them sort of damp, just moist at this moment in time. Obviously keep them frost free if it's going to be a frost, and if you've got an unheated greenhouse, either put them somewhere where they won't catch the frost, or put some fleece over them, and then just grow them on, get them going. And obviously that's a huge start. You've gained many weeks, whereas probably in April and May, if you were to dig a hole and set that in the garden, it would grow okay, and there's nothing wrong in doing that with dahlias, putting the tuber straight out into the garden. But it's going to take longer, and it's going to take longer to get flowers, and obviously then you've got things like slugs and snails to contend with as well. So I do like to pot mine on, label it, say an ordinary potting compost, keep it in the greenhouse. When they get growing more, we'll have a look at them again. When the when the leaves and the stems really start coming up, obviously you don't want to get them too drawn up. You want nice, healthy, compact plants to set out. Dahlias can soon go leggy if they get drawn up a little bit. So on nice days, sort of in April and on into early May, before I set them out, I stand them outside. They only perhaps come in the greenhouse at night. And that's how I, grow dahlias, and they do very well. I find it's much easier to set them out with a nice bushy plant in the pot. Dig a hole and just tip them out the pot and set them in the garden like that. As I said, there's no ruling to say that you can't set the tuber into the garden sort of a bit later on, off into the middle of April into May, but they are going to be slower that way. And then obviously you want to set them deep enough, because we could have some late frosts. And as I say, the new foliage of dahlias is very susceptible to getting caught by late frosts. So that's always something to be aware of. So they're the Bishop series. I have, we move the camera down. if we pan down and have a look down there, you can see another way I do it when I've got a lot of dahlias. Some of those are dahlias that I've saved from last year. They're just a general mix of cactus dahlias that I had in a border. Rather than put them in individual pots, I put them in a deep, quite a deepish seed tray or garden tray, and then I should cover those up to just to the underside of the crown again. She'll fill this up with compost, to just below where the crown there, and then keep it, just there again, just moist, not over wet. They don't want to sit, in too much wet, but obviously they need a certain amount of moisture to get them going. They've been stored all winter, they're very dry, and hopefully those will go away, grow away fast. While you're looking at your tubers, if you find any with squishy, rotten tubers, don't want that falling on there, like this one, just get a pair of secateurs or scissors and cut it off right as far up by the crown as you can. You don't want to leave any kind of rot or squishy tubers like that on your dahlias. As I say, the vital part, as I've stressed, is this bit here, the crown. That is where the new buds are going to come. And that is so vitally important. If a few of your tubers drop off, don't worry about that. They will still grow. It's the crown round the bottom of the stem, where the stems was cut off last year, just at the base there. That is the so important part. And just keep it moist, and they will grow off, and very easy there again. Depending on how quickly they come on, I might put these on into bigger pots. If I've got a really sheltered bit of garden, by the time they're sort of up round about where my hand is, up to about there, I might even set them out. More often than not, I do set them on into bigger pots and grow them on a little bit more. It's just a means of a way of making sure they're going to grow and get them, shooting. And it's just quicker at this stage to do it in a bulk tray like this than to put them into pots. So yeah, there we go. A really great plant. Will give you loads of colour. You can see on some of my early videos from last year, I do also like to have flowers in the house, and dahlias make an absolutely stunning cut flower. Even from the very small pom-pom ones to the cactus, to the bigger decorative type. Obviously, if you're growing the really big, what they call the dinner plate ones, well, obviously, one flower fills a vase. So, but they still make absolutely wonderful cut flowers. So, a good, really, versatile border plant for your garden. Really, the only thing side to them, I will say, is they will probably need staking. If you live, as you know, I'm always going on about how windy it is in my garden, and so I do have to probably stake them and tie them up. But you can do that so it doesn't intrude. If you keep the stakes quite low, and you can even put some of these, if you've got like these metal hoops, and let them grow through those, and then they almost become like self-supporting. But they will probably need staking, some of the bigger varieties. So there we go. As always, thanks very much for watching. Please do come back and see how the dahlias get on over the next few months, and I'll leave you with just a quick few shots of how well my spring tubs are now flowering. All the bulbs are really doing well, and they really look colourful this last few weeks. Please do think about subscribing, it does help us smaller channels, and comment, like, and I'll see you in a future video. And good gardening, And my best wishes for now, and bye for now.